the question that we have for you about winning the lottery. So you've been hearing us talking. We know it is becoming so redundant that you could almost gag. Your source energy, you come forth, you mix it up, you throw stuff over there into your vibrational escrow, and now your work is to move in the direction of it. And so are you getting the sense that this vibrational reality is swirling, is real, and is calling you to it? Yes? So that means in the subject of winning the lottery, if my goal is to win the lottery, that means it's in there, yes? Yes. So if it's in there, that means the circumstances are already being drawn, yes? So that means the probability of the lining up of the choosing of the numbers is already set into motion, yes? So, if all of that is set into motion, and my goal is to get in the vortex, then what's going to happen when I get in there? The numbers are going to occur to me, yes? Now there's a difference. So think about what we're talking about here. Are you going to dictate what numbers are called? No. Universal forces are going to line up the numbers. You're going to get in there where you can see them. You see? That's the way you go about it. In other words, you chill out and get in there, and when a vision of numbers comes to you, buy a ticket. But there are a lot of people trying to will the numbers. Oh, there'll be these numbers. There'll be these numbers. There'll be let the universe line it up, and you get in there and feel the inspiration. And that, while we're really not that interested in the details of the specifics of this creation, that's the answer to everything that you want. You've been putting the content of it there, and the universe is arranging it in a very pleasing way for you. And what law of attraction does for you is it inspires you with a sense of timing and clarity about how you, now let's say that it's not the lottery you're trying to win. Let's say it's a lover. And let's say that you've really put a wonderful lover in there because you've had so many rotten lovers. In other words, you could look back to your past and say, hey, all you guys that gave me such a hard time, you have caused me to create something really wonderful. You were so bad, something really wonderful is in my future. And we're not kidding about that. Stuff you don't want is what causes you to cause a symbolization of what you do want. So let's say that the goal is to rendezvous with this magnificent relationship. So there it is swirling, and on this one subject, this one of 20 subjects that we were talking about, circumstances and events are all being lined up, and it's not just one path to lead you. It's another and another and another and another. So it doesn't matter if you're not queued up for the first one, there's another. And if you're not queued up for that, there's another. In other words, the law of attraction doesn't say, hey, we got it all ready and you weren't there. Forget it. You missed your opportunity. There's nothing like that. There's another and another and another and another and another and another. So let's say that rather than you staying fixated on it and using the absence of something you really want as your reason to not feel good, let's say you're distracted by focusing upon other things that are easy to feel good about. Maybe you are involved in sports and you like it. Maybe you're personally running every day and you get in the zone. Maybe you read books that really thrill you and you feel good. Maybe you listen to music. Maybe you treat yourself nice. Maybe you have endless games that you play that keep yourself feeling good. But let's say you're pretty much often tuned in, tapped in, turned on. You feel very, very good. So the universe is lining things up and you're queued up on the brink of this. Let's say that you've moved from hopefulness into expectation. You know it's going to happen, and it doesn't matter to you when it happens. You're so sure it's going to happen, you're happy in your mind. And so now you're in there. Now, an impulse to do something that will seem totally unrelated to this subject will occur to you. And the feeling of compulsion will be so strong that you just, no matter what time it comes to you, day or night, middle of the night, doesn't matter when it comes, the feeling is so strong that your logic cannot talk it down. So you follow the impulse and run right into the rendezvous. That's how it happens. Now later, after the fact, when you tell those stories, you say, oh man, what a lucky thing happened to me. And we say, there's no luck involved. There's just different degrees of allowing the universe to lead you to the path of least resistance for the fulfillment of what you want. And it's never ending. It is never ending. And so when you say, I thought my inner being was helping me out, you're right. Your inner being is helping you out. When you say, I thought law of attraction is on my side, you're right. Law of attraction is on your side. There's an endless stream of probable paths to satisfy you. You just got to be in vibrational alignment with them, you say. Right now, ready to pop for you 20, 30, 40, 50 viable avenues of motion forward. Sometimes people say, well, I feel like I went to the dock and my ship had sailed. And we say, no problem. There's another and 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 another. So if you hear us and accept that there is another and another and another and another, and you accept the winning of the lottery might be one, an idea about something might be another. In other words, the universe is looking for paths of least resistance to satisfy through you and through how you live and through how you think the things that you've asked for. In other words, if we could just convey to you, sometimes it looks like what you think is, oh yeah, I've asked, but there's this arbitrary board that is saying, well, the worthiness isn't quite in place, or let's let that one just stew a little longer because there's more to be learned. Nothing like that is going on. When you put it over there, all forces are moving systematically and consistently toward giving you the results that you're looking for, and to the degree that you allow through your path of most allowance or through your path of least resistance, it unfolds. You see what we're getting at? So can you feel that it is working out for you? And then play what other games you want to play. And if we were standing in your physical shoes, and this is really what we were telling our goal-setting friend earlier, we would be less intense about what we're trying to make happen, because the intensity about what you're trying to make happen is the reason for the majority of your resistant vibration. An attitude of, I will succeed, instead of, it's natural that things come to me. Feel the difference. I'm going to make it happen because I'm going to prove my worthiness because I know I am worthy. Or the universe knows what I want. It's all queued up and it's just a matter of right timing. And the universe knows even better than I do the details of what would be the best unfolding for me, you see. And when you get into that place, then it's just fun to watch the drama unfold. It's fun. The attitude that you want to have is, ooh, what's next? Let's see. In what way is the universe going to surprise and delight me with the path toward all that I've been asking for? And can't you honestly say, I don't even remember everything I put in there. I don't even remember, because some of the stuff I put in there in the middle of stuff I really didn't want. I'm not even actually sure what's in there, but you can be sure it's all good, and you can be sure you're really going to like it when it unfolds, and you can be sure it will unfold, and you can be sure source is on it, and you can be sure nobody else is going to sweep in and snatch it away, and you can be sure it's there for you, and you can be sure you created it, and you can be sure it's on its way to you. The only thing that is questionable is how long is it going to take you to line up with it, and the answer to that is, it doesn't really matter. If you're that's why we want you to be patiently and eagerly optimistic, you see. So we would play the lottery for the fun of it, period. We would say, this is fun. And I like to get impulses. And when I get an impulse, I like to write it down and see if it plays out. And I like to see how things come. Play a game while you're in traffic. Are any of you ever in traffic? Play a game. Hold a birth date in your mind, or fixate on something every day before you get into traffic. Find something to think about that has something to do with letters and numbers. And then get into traffic and watch how quickly the universe will bring to you those numbers. You're just going to thrill at how it all lines up all around you. It's uncanny, because the probability of satisfying what's active in your vibration, especially if it's a silly game that you don't really care that much about, is 100%. The universe will show you its response to your non-resistant thought again and again and again. And when you convince yourself that the universe is responding, then you can be inspired. A lot of people want to say, this is my free time and this is my work time. As if to say, this is my time that is freedom and this is my time that is bondage. And we say, you have to find a way of acknowledging that you're free to choose all of it. You're free to go or not go. You're free to get paid or not get paid. You're free to do that or to do something else. You're free to feel good while you do it or bad while you do it. You're free to make the best of it or the worst of it. You're free to look for positive aspects or negative aspects. You're free to pick downstream thoughts or upstream thoughts. You're free to feel better or worse. You're free to feel relief or feel the opposite of relief. You have absolute freedom. You have absolute control because you have control of the direction of your thought. And it only feels like you don't have control when you don't exercise it. If you would just direct your thoughts more deliberately for little bits of time, you'll begin to see the absolute correlation. The universe will back this up with evidence that lets you know that. And pretty soon you're going to begin to feel really powerful. You're going to begin to recognize that you can make a difference, not only in the way you feel, but in the manifestations that come in response to the vibration that is indicated by your feeling. We want you to do everything that you do for the sensation of well-being that you can discover from it in the moment. We don't want to ever see you paying a price or doing something because you think this effort will bring you this outcome. We don't want your attention and your deliberateness to be about your expectation about the manifestational outcome. That's far too long. There's too much time, space, reality distance between here and there. We want you to make your choices based upon how they feel now, how they feel now, how they feel now. And soon you can show yourself that every desire that you have ever been able to conjure exists only for the reason of giving you a reason to look downstream and allow life to flow through you. Can you imagine the river guide saying to Jerry and Esther? Well, he did say to them, this isn't Disneyland and we can't turn this river off. And we say that to you too. It's not Disneyland. You cannot turn your river off. But can you imagine Jerry and Esther saying to him, where are we going to take the boat out? And he would say, many miles downstream. And them saying, well, that might take a while. So we'd like to put our raft back on the bus and drive it down the canyon. And we'll put it in just a few hundred yards from where we're going to take it out, because we like instant manifestation. And he would say, whatever you want, crazy lady. But I thought you wanted a ride on the river. I thought you wanted a ride on the river. A ride on the river, an opportunity to not know and then know, an opportunity to know what you don't want and then know what you do want, and then reach for what you do want until you feel yourself aligning with it, and then seeing things actualize around that unified, aligned vibration. And then notice the correlation between your thoughts and feelings until you begin to feel invincible. And then stepping into yet a bigger arena where the contrast is grander and the opportunities are more, so that you're parlaying yourself into even more dynamic life experience. And then recognizing by the feeling in your belly that you're not up to speed with it. And then deliberately reaching for thoughts until you feel yourself getting up to speed with it, and feeling the thrill of getting up to speed with it. Not the thrill of getting up to speed with it because of the results it will bring you, but the thrill of getting up to speed with it, the thrill of riding the wave. Jerry and Esther are sitting on their deck watching people actually going out into the ocean, deliberately paddling out into what might be a wave that they can ride. And they do a whole lot more paddling than they do riding the wave. Because the thrill of riding the wave is so worth it. One of their friends came by their house the other day and was begging them to help him get out of his wetsuit. His hands were so frozen, he could not. And Esther said, and you do that because? You are so frozen that you cannot move your fingers. How did you drive here? And he said, because the ride is so worth it. And we want to say that to you. The ride is so worth it. You're willing to learn about the currents. You're willing to learn about the downstream and the upstream. You're willing to learn about your guidance. It's so worth it when you catch a wave. And what you said